It takes 1 full ton of these flowers to make 8 kilograms of oil. And that oil is worth more per liter than silver. This is Provence. 18,000 hectares of purple. And in 6 weeks, all of it will be cut. No chemicals, no heat above 100 degrees, just steam forced through the
One drop. Out of 500 materials on her shelf, she has to choose the ones that will still be worn 30 years from now.
From a dry, stony field to this, 300 euros for 50 milliliters. Here is every single step in between. This film is an artistic recreation of a real production process made using AI-generated visuals. It is Lucien's family has farmed this plateau for 4 generations. The soil here is thin, stony, and dry. Almost nothing else will grow in it.
That is exactly why lavender is here. This plant does not want rich soil. Feed it too well, and the scent collapses.
The oil is in the leaves and it is stored in the stem. It is stored in microscopic glands right here on the surface of these tiny flowers.
Crush 1 flower and the glands rupture. That smell on his fingers is the entire product. Everything after this is just capture. 2 different plants. On the left, true lavender. Grue lavender, grown high in the hills, expensive. True lavender will only give its finest oil above 800 meters. Higher, colder, harder. And the yield is a fraction of what the plateau produces. Every plant starts as a cutting from a mother plant, a seed. Seeds give unpredictable oil, and this industry cannot afford surprises. Then it waits. 3 full years before the first proper harvest. 3 years of pruning, weeding, and hoping the frost stays away. In winter, he every bush back into a tight dome. It looks brutal. An uncut plant collapses in the middle and dies in 5 years instead of 15. Too low, into the old wood, and it will never grow back. The whole harvest depends on a decision made with a pair of shears in January. By late May, the color begins. Within 3 weeks, this entire plateau will change from silver to violet. At full bloom, a single hectare can hold over 1 million flower heads, and every one of them is being worked by bees. Bees are not a side effect. Lavender honey from this plateau sells for 3 times the price of ordinary honey. He is not guessing. He tests the flowers every few days, waiting for the exact window when oil... One heavy storm now and the flowers shatter. Weeks of oil on the ground in 20 minutes. The decision to cut cannot wait much longer. So on the 5th of July, at 4 in the morning, he makes the call. The harvest starts today. The cut has to happen in the cool hours. Once the sun is high, the oil starts evaporating straight out of the flower heads. 80 centimeters of stem, cut in a single pass, at exactly the height that leaves enough wood behind for next year. One machine replaces 40 people with sickles. In a single day, it will cut what once took an entire village a fortnight. But up here on the terraces, nothing has changed in 200 years. The finest true lavender is still cut entirely by hand. Hand-cut lavender is tied into bundles the same day. Loose flowers heat up, and heat is the enemy of everything he is trying to protect. By 10 in the morning, half the plateau has already changed color for the year. The cutting window closes at noon. After that, the heat takes more oil than the machine can gather. Every trailer holds close to 5 tons, and it must reach the still within hours before the load starts to ferment from its own heat.
This is the distillery. Some of these buildings have been doing exactly this job since the 1800s.
The flowers are loaded into steel baskets that will slide straight into the still. From here, nothing touches them by hand again. The packing has to be perfectly even. One loose channel and the steam races straight through it, and half the load gives up nothing. 800 kilos of flowers, sealed into a copper vessel that has been in this room longer than anyone working in it. Once that lid is clamped, the pressure inside starts to climb, and there is no opening it again for the next 90 minutes. 3 vessels, running in rotation, day and night, for 6 straight weeks. Then they will sit silent for the rest of the year. Underneath, A wood fire. Nothing more complicated than that. The steam it raises is about to do all the work. The vapor leaves through the swan neck, carrying the scent of 800 kilos of flowers with it. Then straight into cold water. The vapor collapses back into liquid in seconds. What comes out is not oil. It is oil and water together, and they have about 4 seconds to separate. Lavender oil is lighter than water, and it refuses to mix with it. So it simply floats. This is the moment he has been working toward since he pruned those bushes in January. The oil is drawn off the top. The scented water below it, the hydrosol, is bottled and sold too. 90 minutes later, the lid comes off, and everything inside has changed. Everything that made these flowers valuable is now in a steel jug the size of a bucket. The spent flowers go back to the fields as mulch, or into a boiler to help fire the next distillation.
5 tons of flowers went into that vessel. This is what came out. Around 8 kilograms.
Straight into dark glass. Light destroys this oil faster than air does. Every bottle is traced back to a single field on a single day. If a buyer questions the quality in 2 years, he can point to the exact row. Then it rests. Even the oil improves for a few months in the dark, exactly like wine.
Before anyone buys it, the oil is broken down molecule by molecule. Over 400 compounds, and the ratio between just 2 of them decides the price. Linalool and linyl acetate. Get those 2 numbers right, and the oil is worth several times more than the same volume from the plateau below. But the machine cannot make the final call. That still comes down to a trained nose and about 4 seconds.
Proved. Now it leaves the mountains and goes to the one town in the world that will decide what it becomes.
Grasse, perched above the Riviera, the perfume capital of the world for 400 years, and its craft is now protected by UNESCO. Behind these old walls, the equipment is anything but old. Because there is a second way.
Steam is violent. It burns off the most fragile molecules in the flower. So for the finest work, they never heat it at all. Instead, the flowers are washed with a solvent at room temperature. It dissolves the scent straight out of them and leaves the delicate molecules intact. Within an hour, the solvent is no longer clear. Everything that made the flower smell is now dissolved in it. The solvent is then boiled off under vacuum at low temperature and recovered to be used again. What stays behind is not oil yet. This is the concrete, waxy, solid, and packed with scent. Still not usable in a perfume because those waxes will never dissolve in alcohol. So it is washed with pure alcohol and then chilled to 20 degrees below zero. The waxes seize solid. The scent stays in the liquid. You can watch it happen. The wax gives up and falls out of solution. Filtered cold, so the wax never gets a chance to melt back in. Even that wax is sold on to a cosmetics factory down the coast. It is now measured to the 100th of a gram. At this stage, a spill the size of a coin costs more than the machine it landed on.
Every batch of every year is kept. Some of these bottles are older than the people working here.
Because a perfume made 10 years ago has to smell identical today. And no 2 harvests are ever quite the same. Old against new. If they do not match, the blend gets adjusted until they do. This is where science ends and judgment begins. Proved. Now it goes into the one room in this building that almost nobody is allowed to enter.
It takes 7 years of training to sit in this chair. Worldwide, there are only a few hundred people qualified to do it.
Lavender is the heart of this formula.
Too sharp. The lavender is fighting the bergamot instead of carrying it. So she starts again.
600 versions. Some perfumes take 2 years to reach the one that works. The formula is written once, by hand, and locked away. Some of the most famous ones have never been typed into a computer. Now the formula is scaled from a few grams to 2,000 liters, and the ratio has to be identical to the third decimal place. Then it rests, weeks in the dark while the molecules settle into each other. In the trade, they call it maceration, and rushing it ruins everything. Chilled again, close to -10, to force out anything that would ever turn cloudy in a bathroom cabinet. One last filtration. What comes through is completely clear, and it is finally, genuinely finished. 50 milliliters at a time. Around 3,000 bottles from a single tank. The bottle alone costs more to make than most finished perfumes sell for.
Boxed by hand, because a machine cannot be trusted with the last 2 centimeters.
From one hillside town, out to 60 countries. The oil in that truck was still a purple flower on a mountain 9 months ago. 300 euros. Around 4% of that is the ingredients. The rest is the bottle, the marketing, and 400 years of reputation.
And in that 1 second, she is smelling a field she will never see.
Back on the plateau, the season is already over. 6 weeks of work, 11 months of waiting, and a plateau that will look completely different in June. He always leaves one bush standing at the end of every row. His grandfather did it. He has never asked why. 1 ton of flowers, 8 kilograms of oil, 300 euros for 50 milliliters, and it starts again in 7 months.
Every single thing on your shelf started somewhere like this.
From the field to the laboratory. It takes both of them, and about 9 months, to fill one small bottle. If you enjoyed this journey, subscribe to Inside the Production Line for more. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to Inside the Production Line and see the next process from the very beginning.